It's the Sean Widmer Podcast. It's a journal by someone that just really doesn't like to write.
We're just diving into it today, right off the bat. Thank you for tuning into the Sean Widmer Podcast. It is a Wednesday episode in the late February. We're going to call it Birthday Boy. I'm not actually calling him because it's his birthday. Well, it was his birthday Monday. Shout out to Jeremy. We're calling him for something completely different, but that's how we're starting the podcast. Coming up in just a few minutes, I've got discussions that you won't want to hear about. Gross stuff, just grossness. We'll wrap the podcast up with that. Yeah. Let's call Jeremy. See what my guy's doing. I think he's driving to work. See if he answers. Come on. There we go.
Good morning, Sean.
Hey, young man. Do you have time for a quick question? Okay. Hang on. You might not be able to hear me. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you now. Sorry, I had to switch it over to my car Bluetooth.
Okay. Quick question. Well, first of all, happy birthday this week.
Thank you.
I'm bummed to have missed it. Birthdays with the guys from the Forge group are always fun, so I'm bummed I missed it. But you did something this week, and I need to figure out if we're done with them or not, because they're one of my favorite things. Are we in our 40s over buffets?
Oh, definitely not over buffets.
Oh, good man. Good man. Thank you, Jeremy.
No. I think this one was just a bad experience.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to chalk it up to. I think it's a one-off.
Jeremy went to a Chinese buffet this week with his fam, with the kids, and it wasn't a great experience. And I can't tell you the amount of times, Jeremy, I drive by a Chinese buffet, and I'm like, I don't care that it's in a strip mall. I want to be there every time. And you went.
Well, yes, and I feel like every good Chinese buffet should be in a strip mall. I think that's like a prerequisite or something.
There was one in Spokane. There was one way up north by like Target and Shopko that I remember going to a long time ago.
That's the one I went to, and
it just wasn't.
I don't know if I had ever been to that one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hope in that my fingers are crossed that it was kind of an off day, because I had never been to that one. I was. It didn't stop me from eating poor plates, but I wasn't impressed.
Some people are really out on buffets, and I get it. Like I've heard the excuses for why they stink, and like it's not some people's cup of tea. I love them. I don't know why. I love them. I love the variety of just being able to get a little bit of everything instead of just being locked into one item. Like that part intrigues me so much. So I'm still in. I just wanted to make sure we're okay with them still.
I think we're okay with them, and you having kids, the kids will love them too. My kids thought it was like the greatest thing ever. So if that reason alone, definitely still in on buffets.
That I am excited for that age when I can take my kids and they get the food, just waiting for the trip to get just ice cream. Just dying for that trip to get just ice cream, because that was always, I remember my grandparents would go to a buffet and I would eat some food and then kind of wait until Grandpa gave me the go ahead where he's like, yeah, you can go get ice cream. And then I lived there for 30 minutes.
Just loaded up with sprinkles and chocolate syrup and all the good stuff.
Oh, so good. Okay, well, I'm glad we're in. I needed to just check in because our lives are changing, right? We're in our 40s, man. We've got young kids. You've got older young kids. We're not in our 20s and 30s anymore. So things start to go away as we get older. And I didn't know if we had hit the end of our buffet run. And I'm glad to know we are still in that world.
Yeah, I'm still in. I just I can't eat like I used to. So there's that.
Jeremy, that part stinks for multiple reasons. One, it just sits like you never burn the calories anymore. Once you eat a lot, that's just now your body has changed. Also, I have hit the age where if I eat something, it affects my body the rest of the day. And not just I'm getting large way, but I don't feel right. My body doesn't move right. It's weird. I hate it.
I think I've probably had enough sodium to last me at least 6 months.
Think about even 10 years ago, if you had told me, oh, you're having a lot of sodium, I truly would have thought, what is that?
Yep.
But not anymore. Not anymore.
Sounds delicious, whatever it is.
Yep. All right, dude. Well, I appreciate you. Enjoy the work day. Did you want to talk any politics before you leave?
I do not.
Why? What are you talking about?
What?
You're my political outlet. You didn't want to dive in?
No, I do not.
Hey, gas.
If I could just avoid politics for the next 4 years, I think we'll be good.
Gas here is over $3 for the first time since I moved here. I was told on Facebook it wouldn't be. So that's all I got for you. Brother, take it easy. Happy birthday week. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Take care, Sean.
All right, there he is. There's Jeremy. That dude. Everything that I don't know about politics, he knows everything. And he probably hates me because politics stuff will come up and he brings up, oh man, I'm worried about this, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what's good and what's bad. I don't follow it enough. So he puts up with me with that. I apologize to him, but then sometimes I'll talk NBA to him, and I know he fakes his way through me caring way too much about the NBA All-Star game and how they can change it. So shout out to Jeremy. Okay, we're back in on buffets. I've got 2 little kids here early in the morning who are hanging out, who I think they would love a buffet. I did hear like a podcast the other day where people were ripping a buffet because one, like, you're just gorging, you're overindulging, you don't need that much food. Fair, I get it. That's totally right. And the other fact is, it's just not good. So you're spending money, and the food is not as good quality as the food if you go to a restaurant and order a good menu item. You're just not getting as good of quality. So hang on just a second. Let me see. Come here. Let's see. What do you need? This will be a great question, I'm sure. I've been asked some great questions today. What question did you want to ask?
I wanted to talk.
No, just talk into the microphone since you decided to come in and be part of the show. Oh, no, nothing? All of a sudden you're shy? All of a sudden you're shy? No, we're not going to play with those right now. We're not going to play with those. They're just nothing we're going to play with right now. Huck, what did you want to say? Did you want to talk on this? All right, let's see if he wants to talk on it. What did you want to say?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Jeremy.
Happy birthday.
Michael said the other day on watching on YouTube, as Huck has been a frequenter of the podcast, it looked like Huck drug a dead body in. Huck, did you bring a dead body in here one time? You did? That's unfortunate. Well, we'll have to figure that out and get to the bottom of it. Anyways, to wrap up the buffet talk. Okay, now we can wrap up the buffet talk. Sorry, there's an edit there if you're watching on YouTube to try to herd some children out of this room. I'd mentioned the podcast I was listening to. They were talking negatively about buffets, and they had me swayed for a moment. I drive by one a lot that I want to frequent at some point. I think there is there's just an acceptance you have to have as a human. Some people, and I get it, are not in on that world at all. But I think there's people like me who you just have to accept. I like gross things. That's what it is. I like gross things. And a buffet might be kind of gross. I like gross things. A lot of people don't like gross things. It's not for them. I don't like fancy restaurants. Is there anything wrong with that? No, it's just not my cup of tea. Some people love a fancy restaurant. So for those of you who are buffet haters, just know I probably dislike a bunch of restaurants you like. And guess what? That's going to have to be okay. You don't have to go to dinner with me. And don't force me to go to dinner with you. Now, that is one thing I'm going to give buffet lovers. A buffet lover is never really forcing the hoity-toity fancy dinner eater to come with them. They're never really pressuring. If the fancy eater's like, I don't want to go with you, they're like, okay, cool, and we'll go to the buffet even by ourselves. The fancy pants eaters are always like, you have to come to this restaurant. You absolutely have to come with me to this restaurant. Like, it will knock your socks off. Then when you say, no, it's not my deal, you have to, they'll beg and plead. So you know, as much as you rip us fancy restaurant eaters, us buffet people head in a lot more chill. We're a lot lower maintenance, which I appreciate. Okay, what did that turn into? I don't know. Jeremy, thank you for coming on. I love you. Let's get into some Marco Polo me and let's talk politics, my brother.
Kelly's What Are You Into?
Kelly's What Are You Into didn't really work on the video because I have that wrong. Let me see. There we go. Now it'll work. I'm going to play it again. This is for the YouTube people.
Kelly's What Are You Into?
For you podcast listeners, you got to see it twice. Okay, I mentioned this the other day. I have hit this age where, one, my body doesn't react to sodium very well, or buffets, or food in general. Definitely not dairy. My body just has a terrible reaction to dairy. But it also is, I'm at an age where I've just started getting into weird stuff. That's there was a time where I had a lot of hobbies and I liked to have a lot of hobbies, and that was kind of the thing. But my hobbies were very fine-tuned to me, and I felt like I had a pretty good understanding of the things I liked, and then the hobbies I had were kind of around there. And for the most part, that's still the thing. I love sports. I love basketball, so I've got a lot of hobbies around sports and basketball. I love board games. I love tabletop games, so a lot of my hobbies are around that. Same with video games. And so that's normal still. But as I've gotten older, it's just I get into weird stuff, and I don't know why. Maybe midlife crisis stuff. I think this happens. This happens to people, at least that in my life that I've seen as they get older. You're like, well, all of a sudden I'm a car guy. I'm 45 years old, and I'm suddenly a car guy. I'm suddenly into model airplanes. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about because I've got a couple of these. I mentioned the drawing. I've been trying to get into drawing. I've been slacking the last week and a half, but I've been trying to get into drawing. The other one, though, right now, and it's thanks to Dan, who started sending me pictures, and it's also thanks to Elsa, who I don't need the pictures because they're in my kitchen. Dan sends me pictures of this bread that he makes. Elsa shares with me this bread that she makes, sourdough bread. I'm suddenly finding myself on the internet Googling how to make different breads. Something I never in a million years thought I would ever be into. I don't even think I want to go there, but I'm weirdly obsessed with it. If you went to my search history, you would think that I'm opening a bakery. Have I baked a loaf of bread? Absolutely not. But boy, oh boy, have I done the research to get to the point where I could. And I think what happened was Elsa was making this bread in the house that is phenomenal and different kinds, whether it's shapes or styles or whatever it is. And they're so good and they smell great. They taste great. They're comforting. They're not great for me health-wise, but I love them. Okay, and then my buddy Dan back in Spokane, he got a bread maker, and he started making these different like loaves of bread where he'd put like stuff in them and different cheeses on top and all these things. And so I'm like, well, I have to get into this. Now, my grandpa, a long time ago, he got into bread making and would make the grandkids loaves of bread, and it was cinnamon bread. So it had this cinnamon swirl in the middle. So you'd get a loaf of bread and, you'd cut it and you'd see like the swirl of cinnamon going to the middle. You put that in the toaster, put some butter on it. It was unbelievable. And Gramps made that for the grandkids for a long time. I remember thinking at the time, boy, oh boy, how bored are you? How much time do you have? And now I'm just realizing, oh, you were just a guy who had done a lot of things in your life, and this was something you hadn't really tackled, and you enjoyed doing it, and it made people happy. I get it now, Gramps. I get it. I judged inaccurately. So I'm in this world now. And there's going to be a point where it happens. Now, I don't know that I'm going to do the cinnamon swirl bread, although my kids would go bananas for it. I really want to get some kind of like jalapeno cheddar loaf of bread, which is so selfish because my kids will hate it. My wife will hate it. I don't think Elsa will like it. No one in the house will like it except for me. So it's a beyond selfish look. But if I can make it, maybe that will also then get me to dive into the cinnamon swirl bread so that I could make that, and it would blow my daughter's mind. It would change everything. Maybe I saved that for a time where I've started to slip in the parental rankings, and mom is starting to maybe teeter a little too high onto the maximum favoritism, which she's there a lot for the kids. And I need to throw a Hail Mary. This could be the one. It's a cinnamon swirl bread. Say, Olivia, I made this for you. And then, at least you kind of balance the playing field out there, because that's what parenting's about. Jockeying for favoritism position. That's what I've learned. in my days as a parent. Okay. Hey, if you would like to, hey, what a transition. If you'd like to comment on the podcast, I'd love it. You can comment over on Spotify. You can comment over on Sean'sLife.com. I need buffet talk. I need buffet talk in my life. So I might not even read them on the podcast, but I can interact with buffet talk. I need to know what I'm missing. Moon's Mongolian in Spokane is like my favorite restaurant ever. I guess it's technically a buffet, but I don't really count it as a buffet. A Mongolian grill, that's an all-you-can-eat experience, but it's not really a buffet because you're getting the meal. Now, they have a lot of options for your meal, but it's not different items. There was one in Spokane that was like a mini buffet that I loved. It was right by Nolai. Was that Bangkok Thai? It's either Thai Bamboo or Bangkok Thai, I think is what it was. Right next to Nolai. And they would do a lunch buffet. And it had maybe 5 or 6 different Thai dishes. And you could go through and just load up the little dishes, different dishes on your plate. And again, is it the most amazing food in the world? It's been sitting under a heat lamp in a tray for a while. It's not like the freshest, most amazing. It was really good. But the fact that you could try 5 different things was huge. And also in a world like that where there's a lot of times I look at a Thai menu, I go, I don't know what that menu item is. This was a chance for me to try them, mark down in my phone, like, hey, I like this dish in a Thai restaurant. Moving forward, let me order that. And I liked it in the buffet fashion. I guarantee I'm going to like it when that's the sole thing being made fresh to bring out to me. And that was good. It's research. A buffet is research, everyone. Okay, thank you for tuning in. I'm a bread guy now. What weird stuff are you getting into? Is that a normal old person thing, or is that just me? Is that just how my brain moves quickly? And that's the case. I didn't get to my farting story. That's going to have to wait apparently for Friday. I'm sorry you all missed it. Talk to you then.